Hi, I'm Tim Villano with the SBDC, and we're lucky enough to be here with Judy Diogo, who is the president of the Central Delaware Chamber of Commerce, and we're here to talk about IT security and specifically securing mobile devices. And Judy, I wanted to ask you if you could tell us a little bit about the chamber, what the chamber does, and also how you use technology.
Okay. At our core, our Chamber of Commerce is a business advocacy organization. Our job is to represent businesses, help businesses grow by providing them with educational opportunities, networking opportunities, marketing, and, as I mentioned, legislative representation. We are one of the few chambers in the state that has 2 registered lobbyists who represent our membership. We currently have 1,000 members in our organization, so that comes out to about 50 to 55,000 people that we represent in Kent County. We're the only 5-star accredited chamber in the state of Delaware. Matter of fact, we're the only accredited chamber in the state of Delaware. What that means is we are in the top 1% of all chambers in the United States of America. So we are very familiar with using best practices. We're very familiar with having our services reviewed, being objective about what we offer to our members. And I think because of that, I think it's really helped us grow and helped us hone in on programs such as cybersecurity and things of that nature for our membership to help educate them on what they need to know.
Terrific. And since you're in touch with so many companies, I assume that you have quite a bit of electronic communications with those companies and email and so forth with both the members and the companies. But can you tell us a little bit about that? Can you tell us how you might use mobile devices, laptops, or tablets?
Every staff person in the office has a mobile phone, and what is accessible on their mobile phone is mainly our email. We also have 2 laptops, which are shared within the entire organization, and we also have an iPad. All of those devices have a PIN and a password. On the mobile phone, as I said, we can receive our emails on those. So at any time, we have access to our membership communications.
Okay, very good. Well, we're lucky because you're also talking to your members about IT security and cybersecurity, so you already have some best practices in place that actually should be transferred to your members, I assume. But you mentioned passwords and PINs on your devices, which is very important, and I assume you have a complex password in place on the laptops that you guys use as well?
Yes, and our passwords are changed periodically. We do work with an outside IT business who, they kind of are our consultants, if you will. So we change our passwords on a regular basis, and they're changed on all devices. We also bring folks in to do seminars here so that they can help educate our members on how to protect your information. Because as we all know, we've become a world that is very attached to this device. Yes. This is everything. This is our world. Yes. It has your schedule, your emails. You lose that and you're completely lost.
Yes, and since you have that IT vendor, I assume there's some central administrative control of these devices in place. But well, like you said, there are PINs and passwords in place, and I know that on the iPhone in particular, that enables encryption or whole disk encryption of this device. And I don't know what other types of phones you may have here, but encryption of these devices, especially if you have company email or important data, personal identifiable information of the employees at the chamber, or perhaps corporate data of your members, you want to make sure you think about encryption. And for those companies that don't have that IT vendor or that central administrative control, it's important that those companies that are members of the chamber that aren't as far along as you think about making sure they have passwords and PINs in place, making sure they think about encryption of those devices, think about the kind of data that they're storing on those devices, think about their laptops as well, as we've discussed. And I'll also ask you, since you have the IT vendor and perhaps those central administrative controls in place, do you know whether or not you have a remote wipe capability in place? Or if your phone is lost or stolen, does your vendor have the capability of remotely wiping that device?
Basically, if anybody's phone goes missing, we contact them immediately, and your PIN and your password is pulled out from the system. So you no longer have access even yourself. You would
Okay.
now have to be issued new PIN number and new passwords.
Right. And for those companies out there that aren't fortunate enough to be able to pick up the phone and talk to their IT vendor, they want to know that there are certain controls that they can put in place as well. They can put in controls that would actually reset the phone to factory defaults after a number of attempts to access the phone via password. For example, if you put in 10 incorrect PINs or passwords, that phone might be reset. And also, I think it's important to know that many mobile devices, including iPhone, Android, and others, now have the capability, a find your phone capability in case it's lost. So you may be able to find that device. Of course, you may not want to track it down and try and apprehend someone, but and I wouldn't advocate that for your membership. But there are controls that people can put in place for those people who don't have that central administrative control. But I also take it from listening to you describe that you actually have a policy and procedure in place should something be lost or stolen, or at least protocols in place for reporting and escalating that event.
Yes, we do. And we also have a complete policy and procedure on how we are to use our devices, mobile devices, as well as our in-house systems, as well as our personal computers here.
Yes.
Everything is kind of outlined, what we're allowed to use it for, what we're not allowed to use it for, what can be accessed and what should not be accessed from here.
IT is everywhere these days, and this really isn't as much of a phone as much of a computer. It really is a
It's a mini
computer these days.
computer.
It's a mini computer, and with a terrible phone attached to it. And you could be traveling with this, taking this into public places like a coffee shop or an airport and so forth. And one thing we talked to quite a few people about is they have an awareness of using virtual private networks or VPNs with their laptops and systems, but they may not realize that they possibly should be doing that with their mobile devices as well, or their tablets. I wonder if you guys have considered that, or will add it to the mix for consideration.
It does have, again, our phones are part of our technology, and that's basically in there because of the fact that they're tied.
Okay.
Through
Okay.
emails.
You're secure. You have your secure connection. So I would say your members are very lucky. The chamber itself is considering IT security right down to the level of mobile devices, and you're also bringing that to the membership and teaching them to do those things. So I think that's absolutely fantastic, and congratulations on the work you're doing, and also glad to hear you're considering how to secure mobile devices.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.